Good afternoon, children. That didn't quite work, did it? Okay, well anyway, it's afternoon story time with Grandma. So today we've got two guests. One is this little bear. Very clever, isn't he? So he's going to sit with Lamb Chop here. Stay there. Right. And then we've got a little piggy. Oink oink. And he's going to sit here with Rabbit there. Okay. And the reason why we've got a little piggy and a little bear is because we're going to read some Winnie the Pooh. And there's always a bear and a piglet in Winnie the Pooh, isn't there? And a rabbit, not usually a sheep, but there's always a rabbit and a bear and a piglet. So I thought today I would do my hair a bit like Princess Leia for something a bit different. Not quite worked, I don't think my hair's quite long enough, but you know, makes a change. So, are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. This is a story called A Winter's Tale. Now it's not winter, it's spring, and it's very sunny outside, so I hope you're managing to get out and play a bit. Only in your own garden though. Okay. So, it was winter time in the 100-acre wood, and the wood was blanketed in thick drifts of sparkling snow. Pooh, which is his name, it's quite a funny name, isn't it, Pooh? But I don't think he was very pooey. Anyway, Pooh was walking along when he came upon Eeyore sitting forlornly in the snow. "Why, Eeyore, what's wrong?" Pooh asked. "Lost my tail again," Eeyore replied. Poor Eeyore was always losing his tail. "Where did you lose it this time?" Pooh asked. "In the meadow, I think," Eeyore answered. "It was there yesterday when I was digging in the snow for thistles. I guess I'll have to wait until spring, until the snow melts, to find it." There he is, all sad, sat in the snow. Now Pooh was a bear of little brain, but he could think a thought if he tried very, very hard. And since Eeyore was such a good friend, Pooh wanted very much to help him. The cold air was making it difficult for Pooh's brain to work properly, so he rubbed his paws over his head and mumbled, "Think, think, think." There he is, look, thinking. Now I think today we perhaps might have a couple of extra visitors, not here, but listening to the story, and that might be Autumn and Willow, because I've sent this story to them. So hello Autumn, hello Willow, and hello to the rest of you, and I hope you're being good. Right, sit still then, sit up nice, cross your legs. Lovely, listen, very good. Here we go. After a minute or two, Pooh gave up. "It's no use, Eeyore," he said, sighing. "I think the thinking part of my brain is too cold to work. Let's go and see Christopher Robin." They always go and see Christopher Robin, don't they? He's very good. He'll know what to do. Pooh's suggestion made Eeyore feel hopeful. Well, as hopeful as Eeyore could ever feel, so he ambled off after Pooh. Pooh and Eeyore set off through the snow for Christopher Robin's house. When they arrived, Pooh knocked on the door and Christopher answered. "Why, Pooh, Eeyore, hello," he said. "What are you doing?" "Christopher Robin, we need your help," Pooh said. Christopher Robin hurried back inside and put on his coat and hat and boots and mittens. Now you've all got hats and coats and mittens, haven't you? But you won't be wearing them today, I don't expect. Then he came out and sat beside Pooh and Eeyore to hear all about Eeyore's lost tail. There they are, look, all sitting there listening. "You say you lost it in the meadow yesterday?" he asked. "Must have," Eeyore replied gloomily. "I had it when I got there. I didn't have it when I left." "What shall we do, Christopher Robin?" Pooh asked. "The meadow is such a big place and Eeyore has such a little tail." Christopher Robin said, thinking very hard. It snowed last night, so Eeyore's tail is probably buried under the drifts. Told you I'll have to wait till spring, Eeyore said to Pooh. He's a bit miserable, Eeyore, isn't he? Oh, Eeyore, said Christopher Robin, don't worry. I'm sure we can think of a way to find your tail. Shall I think too, Christopher Robin? Pooh asked. Yes, Pooh, think very hard, said Christopher Robin. After a minute or two of thinking, Christopher Robin leapt to his feet. Did you think of something? Pooh asked, but Christopher had already run off into the house. Moments later, Christopher returned with a big piece of coloured paper. How is a piece of paper going to help us find Eeyore's tail? Pooh asked. Silly old bear, Christopher Robin said with a chuckle. That's what I wrote on the paper. It's what I wrote on the paper that's important. He held it up for Pooh and Eeyore to see. What do you think? He said. Pooh scratched his head. It's very nice, Christopher Robin, but it's got an awful lot of letters, don't you think? Christopher Robin smiled. I'm sorry, Pooh, he said. I'll read it to you. It says, You are invited to throw snowballs with us in the meadow at 2:00 p.m, signed Christopher Robin, Eeyore and Pooh. Now, I know that lots of you have been practising your reading this week. Don't worry. Practising your reading, not reading. Perhaps you've been practising your reading too, but you've been practising your reading this week because you're having to have school at home and your mummies and daddies are being your school teachers. Aren't they clever? I hope they're teaching you properly, and I hope that you're sitting nicely and listening to what they have to say and then doing as you're told, because I know that they're very good, and so are you. Lovely. Oh, that's nice, said Pooh. Then he added, Will the others be able to read it? Don't worry, Pooh, said Christopher Robin. I'm sure Owl will help, because owls are very wise, you know. Don't know how throwing snowballs will help me find my tail, Eeyore said glumly. Pooh wasn't too sure either, but he and Eeyore followed Christopher Robin out to the meadow and helped him hang a sign on the tree. Now, said Christopher Robin, we shall go back to my house for a nice lunch of honey, biscuits and tea. Then we'll come back out to the meadow to throw snowballs with all our friends. Pooh might not have understood Christopher Robin's plan to find Eeyore's tail Pooh might not have understood how Christopher Robin's plan to find Eeyore's tail would work, but the rumbly in his tumbly, which happens quite a lot, said it was the perfect time for something sweet to eat, and he loved honey. All right, Christopher Robin, Pooh said rather hungrily. By the way, did I hear you say that honey would be served at lunch? Now, for lunch today, Grandpa made lunch, and we had cheese and ham and fake ham on toast with mustard and tomato, and it was delicious, and we ate it outside in the sunshine. Wasn't that nice? I expect you might have had your sandwiches outside in the sunshine, and I wonder what you had in them. Do you want to tell me? Really? And I bet that's that Sylvie saying cheese sandwiches, because she likes cheese sandwiches, don't you, Sylvie? Yes, I know. All right, Christopher Robin, Pooh said rather hungrily. By the way, did I hear you say that honey would be served at lunch? After lunch, Christopher Robin and Eeyore and Pooh headed off to the meadow, when they got there, Tigger, Roo, Piglet and Rabbit were already there tossing snowballs at one another. This is fun, Roo shouted. One of Roo's snowballs flew through the air and smacked into a snow-covered bough directly over Pooh's head. Whoosh! Down fell the snow right on top of Pooh. There he is with all the snow on top of him. Is it snowing again? Pooh asked, wiping snow from his eyes. Silly old bear, Christopher Robin laughed. Roo's snowball knocked the snow off that branch you're standing under. Oh, Pooh chuckled. I kind of liked it. Dodging snowballs is what Tiggers do best, Tigger shouted gleefully. Not even Christopher Robin could hit Tigger with a snowball. There's Tigger, and there's the rabbit. As soon as Tigger saw a snowball heading towards him, he would bounce out of its way. Boing! It's just not fair, Rabbit complained. Tigger is bouncing around so much no one can hit him with a snowball. That's the idea, Long Ears, Tigger said, bouncing up high and letting one of Christopher Robin's snowballs whiz beneath him. Well, I still don't think it's fair, Rabbit muttered, brushing the snow from one of Rue's snowballs off his ears. Pooh was having so much fun making snowballs that he kept forgetting to throw them. Soon he was surrounded by snowballs of all sizes and shapes. This snowball looks a bit like a honeypot, Pooh said to himself as he shaped a snowball with his paws. That gives me an idea. While his friends were busy tossing snowballs, Pooh set out to make snow honeypots. He made up a little hum. Tossing snowballs is fun, you know, but what's more fun than honeypots of snow? Suddenly Tigger shouted, Look everyone, I've found a tail. I've found a snowball with a tail in it. Sure enough, Tigger was holding up a great big snowball with Eeyore's tail hanging from it. Hooray! Christopher Robin exclaimed. He ran over and removed Eeyore's tail from the snowball. There it is. I knew that if we made enough snowballs in the meadow where Eeyore's tail was lost, someone would uncover it, he said. Wasn't he clever? Rabbit looked confused. Were we looking for Eeyore's tail? He asked. Does this mean we should stop throwing snowballs? Piglet said. Everyone gathered round while Christopher Robin carefully reattached Eeyore's tail. Thanks everyone, Eeyore said gloomily. Hope you had fun helping me out. Well, Eeyore, I hope you've learned your lesson this time, said Rabbit, wagging his finger at the donkey. It seems that you lose that tail of yours someplace different every week, and then we all... Wait a minute, Christopher Robin interrupted Rabbit. Where's Pooh? Everyone looked around, but Pooh was nowhere in sight. They couldn't see him. Isn't that Pooh sitting beside the tree? Piglet asked, pointing to a large snow-covered lump. Christopher Robin brushed the snow away and uncovered a rock. No Pooh here, he said. Then this must be Pooh, said Rabbit. He walked over to a snowy mound and poked at it. No, just a bush, he said. Where could Pooh be? Piglet asked nervously. Could be anywhere, he asked gloomily. Eeyore answered gloomily. Don't worry, Piglet, we'll find him, said Christopher Robin. Now, if you were Pooh Bear, where would you be? Where do you think he might be? I think he might be somewhere near honey. That's easy, replied Rabbit. If I were Pooh, I'd be home eating honey. Oh my! Rabbit cocked his head and listened. What is it, Rabbit? Christopher Robin asked. Did you hear something? Rabbit nodded. Yes, I hear a smacking of your lips because it's so delicious sort of a noise coming from over there. Rabbit pointed to a snow-covered bush. Everyone crept over to the bush and peeked around it. And what did they find there? But Pooh, noisily licking his paws, beside him on the snow lay a honey pot. What are you doing, Pooh? Christopher Robin asked. Pooh held up a sparkling honey-coloured icicle. Look, he exclaimed, I found a smackerel of honey stuck to this honey pot. I left it out in the meadow overnight. I've never tasted a honeysuckle before. Christopher Robin, it's delicious. Frozen honey. Would you like to try one? Silly old bear, Christopher Robin laughed, shaking his head. I think it's time for all of us to go to my house for some hot cocoa and a warm snack. Well, we all like hot cocoa, don't we? Because who makes the best hot chocolate? Grandma. And with that, they all set off in a long line through the snowy 100-acre wood to Christopher Robin's house. And off they go. There they all go. Right, well, that's the end of the story today. was quite a long one, wasn't it? I hope you enjoyed it. See you tomorrow. Let's say goodbye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, children.